Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Indoor Recess. And today we're going to be chatting about the Kasperi Kapanen trade that the Leafs just made yesterday. And here joining me to break it down is Kevin McGran, the hockey reporter at the Toronto Star. How's it going, Kevin?
Pretty good, Justin. What's going on with you?
Not much, just this big trade that happened with the Leafs. I made a big splash pretty early on in the off season. So, what's your initial take on the trade? Is it good for the Leafs? Is it bad? Too early to tell.
Well, I think it's actually really, really good for them. Kyle Dubas said it's probably the first move, so he's got more up his sleeve. He obviously has some players of his own to resign, like Travis Dermott and Ilya Mikheyev. But this trade clears up another $3.2 million worth of cap space for him. He's probably got a player like Nick Robertson that could come in and play Kapanen's minutes, so he doesn't really lose anything there. He now gives himself a little bit of cap flexibility, which he's going to need because he needs to improve his blue line. Mm-hmm. What the interesting thing here is if reading between the lines, everything Kyle said yesterday on his conference call, is that he might not make a big move like people want him to go get Peter Angelo or somebody like that. I don't think that's going to happen. They don't have that kind of cap space. But when he was toying with the idea of holding his cap space for the regular season. And what the interesting thing that happens with cap space is that it accrues. So, for example, if you have $1 million worth of cap space at the beginning of the season on the books, it's actually worth $2 million halfway through the season. So you can get $1 million player now or a $2 million player later in a trade. And I think that's probably the way he's going to go. He'll build his team out the way he acquired guys like Jake Muzzin and the goalie Jack Campbell to build the team through the season as well. So I think the trade sets him up well. It doesn't really hurt him. Plus, it restocks the cupboard a little bit for prospects. They get this guy from Sweden who looks like he's going to be pretty good down the road. He'll take some time. The Leafs can be patient, and they have a first-round pick in what looks like it's going to be a pretty good draft. So they're sort of back in the game in terms of developing prospects because it was getting thin when you think of a guy like Nick Robertson's going to be on the team and probably Rasmus Sandin on the team. There wasn't a lot beneath them pushing up.
Yeah, so that draft pick was definitely key in this trade because, the Leafs lost theirs to Carolina, which ended up being the 13th. Like you said, there's a lot of options in this draft. Do you think the Leafs are going to hold on to that first round pick, or do you think they're going to, package it something?
Oh, I think they'll keep it. I mean, there's a possibility. I suppose they could even try to move up because I understand that the top 5 to 8 players are real game breakers. It's not just Alex Lafreniere in that draft. There's a lot of good high end talent at 5 to 8 as well. So. But I think they'll probably end up taking that pick. They have a lot of picks. I think they have 11 picks in the draft. A lot of them late, 3 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th. But I think they're pretty excited about being able to draft in the first round. They couldn't do it last year. They still ended up with a gem in Nick Robertson. So we'll see what the Leaf scouts can pull out of their hat.
So you did mention how Dubas is probably going to, this trade help set the team up for the next season. But do you see any other big moves later this summer, this fall for the Leafs?
I don't think I really see a big one. I don't think he's going to make another move quite yet to free up more salary cap space. He sort of has to do that before. If he wants to make a big move, like go after Alex Pietrangelo, you're looking at another $8 to $10 million player. Yeah. And the interesting thing that's going to happen is we're in a flat salary cap world, and we're in a world in which teams actually have very little by way of fan revenue coming in at this point. So the salary cap, there's a bunch of teams that are stuffed up against the salary cap. The Leafs are no longer one of them. And then there's a bunch of teams that don't have revenue, so they are not going to spend. So you're going to see a real squeeze on free agents. So I think that what to watch for is where the market goes on free agents. Will a guy like Cody Ceci, who earned $4+ million last year, he's not getting $4 million. If he comes down to 2, would the Leafs get him, right? Tyson Barrie's another interesting one. He's the $4.5 million. What's he going to get? Is because, he had an off year. And if the market has changed considerably, these guys might become cheaper. And then that's when you might see teams with salary cap space like the Leafs make a move to get in for a really good player. If you can offer a really good player some stability for 2 or 3 years through this pandemic, maybe that's a way to go about building your team and getting a really good guy at a cheap price.
Yeah, can you imagine Leafs fans' reactions if Cody Ceci and Tyson Barrie are back on? I mean, if you get them for cheap, like you can't be angry, but yeah.
Somebody's got to play those minutes, and right now the alternative is not looking that strong. It's Timothy Liljegren on the right side on the third pair, and I like Timothy Liljegren as a player, but do you really want to go with two rookie defensemen in a year you're going to win the Stanley Cup? Because that's what the Leafs think, right? That's where they are in their mindset. That's where they make moves.
Yeah, and the clock is ticking on a couple of those players too. So, cool. So, maybe just quickly, last time we chatted, our predictions for the bubble playoffs probably are widely wrong. The Leafs.
Well, weirdly enough, my predictions are. I'm actually 10. I'm actually 10-6 on my predictions, but I was very wrong on the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, but I mean, your Blackhawks one, that was a big upset with the Oilers. So, with the teams who are left, who are you thinking is the one to watch out for now?
Well, I mean, I think I'm really enjoying what the Islanders are doing. I think they're a fascinating team, and partly it's because I have an affection for Lou Lamoriello and what he did here in Toronto and what he's doing there in Long Island. Yeah. I'm really, really curious. I don't think they have enough to beat Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is just dumb enough to beat themselves. Like Philadelphia's best players are not playing their best, and that's a tragedy in the playoffs. I still like Vegas to sort of go all the way. I think they're just built perfectly, but Vancouver, Vancouver's a fun team to watch. I know if you're not from Vancouver, it's impossible to root for them because that's just the way the fan bases work in this country. But they're a fun team to watch. Elias Pettersson is like really, really good.
Yeah, and like their turnaround from rebuilding has been.
Really from the time they lost their Swedish guys to now, it seemed to happen a lot faster for them.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think we'll cap it at that. So hopefully we can do another one, maybe the next move the Leafs make or later on in the playoffs. So thanks again, Kevin, and stay safe out there.
Cheers, anytime.